Over the last few episodes, we've been exploring the foundational aspects of the things that you need to change if you really want to be able to see success in your life. First episode, we talked about inputs and outputs and how if you really want to see things change, you don't change necessarily the goal, you change the inputs. Episode number 2, we talked about your identity, how if your identity is not in alignment with your goals and what you're trying to achieve, like you're never going to be able to achieve that goal because it's like your identity is always going to try to pull you back to safety. In episode number 3, we talked about the silent phase, which is kind of like the phase where nobody sees what you're doing. Nobody, like, you don't see progress. You don't see any type of bleep in that silent phase. It's all the work that's happening in the silent phase is really about you and you growing and developing and you building the necessary skill sets that you'll need so that when you get to the compounding phase, then you can kind of like start blowing up. And then on episode number 4, we explored how you need to make sure that you have the right systems in place, because if you rely only on your emotional state and you rely on your emotions to be able to get things done, the reality is that you will never be able to kind of like move the needle substantially. So this is a recap of the last 4 episodes. So if you're new to the channel, this channel is all about the long game and growing and getting better. And if that's you, you're in the right place. If the inputs stay the same, then your life stays the same. And it doesn't matter how many times you rewrite that goal or set up a new goal. If the inputs do not change, everything is going to stay the same. So the results that you're getting, what's happening in your life right now, it's not random. It's not something that is happening because, I'm unlucky. It's not happening because, I think I started late in getting into whatever it is. Maybe I wanted to start this and I'm like, oh, I'm too late, I'm behind. No, it's not because of none of that. It's because your results are a reflection of everything that you do consistently every single day. So what you do, what you eat, what you don't do, the people that you talk to, all those things are the little inputs that you're doing every single day that are going to yield a result. So when someone says, I don't like where my life is going, or, I don't know how to change my life or anything like that, the real question is not what goal should I be setting next? The real question is what's getting in the way, or why are you being so hesitant to change the inputs? So let me break this down a little bit so it makes sense. So if you think of your life as a system, inputs in, outputs out. There's no emotion, there's no motivation, there's no hype, there's no excuses. So if, let's say, the outcomes that you're getting are not what you want, the system is not broken, but the inputs are. But here's the layer underneath that that's more important, which is what today's episode is about. Those inputs are determined by your identity. And if your identity is not identified with that goal, or is not in alignment with that outcome that you're trying to achieve, the inputs that you're doing or that you're trying to modify are not going to help you. So if you want to be able to achieve that outcome, achieve that goal, you have to make sure that you reflect, that you step back and you identify what is it that I'm trying to do, number 1, what is the outcome that I'm trying to get, number 2, but then it's like, okay, who do I have to become in order to achieve that? You know what, I'm gonna start doing this. I know I can do it. You start doing it, but then eventually you hit a ceiling. And that ceiling is your identity talking to you saying, hey, do you really want this? Are you really this person? That's your ceiling kind of talking and kind of like bringing you back to the things that you're comfortable, the things that you know you can do, the things that you identify with. And again, like until you're able to align your identity to that goal or that outcome that you're trying to achieve, if those things are not in alignment, the probability of you getting that are 0 to none. Anybody that has achieved any level of success, it doesn't matter if it's small or exponential success, but anybody that has achieved any breakthrough in terms of being successful in any area, they've gone through different phases. And that first phase, which I call like the silent phase, is this phase where you really don't see any progress. At least on the surface, you don't see any progress. But everything that's happening underneath of that is all the work that you're doing the communication, like the learning, the skill building that you're doing. All those things are things that are happening beneath the surface. At the top, it's like nothing's happening. Like there's no movement. Like people might say, like, what are you doing? Like, well, you know, I don't see any progress. But the reality is that you're working, and the work that's happening in the silent phase, all that work is happening underneath. So if you think about it like a graph, right? It's like a flat line, right? You go on days, weeks, months, and nothing. It's like a flat line, right? Again, the work is happening underneath. Let me give you an example. Like a tree, the roots of a tree, like the foundation of a tree doesn't grow up initially, it grows down. It goes down through the roots, it builds the foundation, and then once it has the foundation, and the tree grows. It's the same thing with success. In order for you to be able to be successful in any area, you have to be able to work on yourself and work on the things that are going to get you to a point where when that breakthrough comes through, then you're ready to be able to go on to the next level. But what happens is that a lot of people, they just quit somewhere along that flat line. Whether it's at the front, in the middle, or at the end, you see flatline, 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 and then at some point, like you're so close to getting that breakthrough, and then all of a sudden you're like, man, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not built for this, right? Your identity starts pulling you back saying, hey, you're hitting that ceiling, that's not who you are, right? So your identity starts to pull you back or tries to pull you back, and then you stop doing what you were doing. The answer, believe it or not, is not motivation, because motivation is a feeling. And feelings can change. Some days you might feel like you are invincible. You can do anything. You can wake up and you're super pumped up, super full of energy. And then there might be other days where you're not as energetic. You might be doubting yourself. You might be doubting everything around you. So if you are relying on your success or the achievement of the goal, the outcome that you're trying to do, if you're relying on your emotional state for you to be able to achieve whatever that is, the reality is that you may not be able to achieve it because you're relying on your emotions and your feelings. And again, that's gonna go up and down. So what you need is a system, because systems are stable, systems are detached from emotion, and they just work. So what you need is a system. If you have systems in place, your systems, if you have them the right way, they're gonna carry you. Remember this, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So if you have great systems in place, it's inevitable, you're gonna win. But if your systems are not optimal, they're not that great, you may or may not be able to achieve your goal or your desired outcome, and you're gonna always be kind of like in this unstable kind of like condition. So you want to build great systems, you want to put those systems in place, and you want to be able to let those systems carry you into the next iteration of yourself, which, as I mentioned in the last video, is the compounding phase. So if you made it to the end, thank you. It looks like you're in it for the long game. This channel, again, is for those who are in it for the long game and who are ready to commit to their own development and to really pushing past their own boundaries. And if that's you, you're in the right channel. I highly recommend that you guys watch these here if you want to continue to level up your skill sets and your life. See you on the next one.